Very good morning. A very, very good morning, ladies and gentlemen across the continent. Here we have the next speaker, who's awestruck by the kind of work she has done. She is the cancer counselor, inspirational speaker, and author of the book called I Inspired. Very warm welcome, Ms. Nisha Malik. And the topic she's going to address is inspiring beyond adversities. And that's a topic is very close to my heart because I think all of us need that guidance, how to live and still be inspired beyond adversities. So a very warm welcome, ma'am, and stage is all to yours.
Sangeeta, 1 minute before you go,
Yes.
I want to wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Yes. What could have been a better day to celebrate on this occasion where I'm interacting and exchanging thoughts with the world leader. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And my dear friends, ladies, gentlemen, children all over the world, I first and foremost need to thank Harbeen for giving us this wonderful platform that we can express ourselves and our ideas. And secondly, I want to thank Lakshmi for inviting me so that I can spend a little bit of time with you and share my stories. Now, I've lived a very fruitful and adventurous and exciting life, but the things that I want to start with are things of deep importance to me. I think that there is a form, a power greater than us, and that is God. That is the light that guides us. That is the leading light that shows us the way, whether we are in trouble or not. Now, I always feel that I'm blessed to be born in this country because it is the spirituality in this place, Sangeeta, that has lifted me out of a lot of problems. So the first thing is that I had a lot of miscarriages. And I think something that really was very close to my heart was when I had a stillborn in the 8th month. But it can be a very traumatizing and terrible experience, which, by the way, it was. But here, we're not talking about problems. We're talking about how beyond adversities, one can still be inspiring. So what do you think happened? The child came into my arms. I hugged and kissed it. And I think apart from me, only my mother saw and held the baby in her arms. And the baby was taken away. And I just lay there looking out the window, tears coursing down my eyes. And then, guess what? As I was there, with the tears pouring gently down my eyes, devoid of feeling, dead to the world, yes, a mountain of despair, one little thought came to my mind. Wow, these last 8 months were the very happiest months of my life because I was in constant communication with this soul who I still call my little one. And with that, I want to tell you that there was a change in perception. The sorrow, the misery, the trauma that could have made me into a very bitter, angry, sad person just changed in a matter of a second when that feeling of immense gratitude just came upon me wave after wave. And when I changed my perception, still looking at the window, still tears coursing down my eyes, what is the next thought? The next thought was that I'm so lucky. Now you would wonder, how can I consider myself lucky? I did. Because what do we learn thanks to the spiritual truths of our country? We learn that we live those many lives till we have become perfect, literally divine, to merge at the holy lotus feet of the Lord. And you know what the thought was? That got me out of all these feelings. The thought was that I am so lucky that this soul had only 8 months to live as a soul, as a human fetus, before it could in nirvana, mukti, liberation, call it what you will. So this was one of the few aspects where spirituality helped me in loss. Now I go a step further. Finally, after many miscarriages and the stillborn, I had twins who were 2 months and 5 days premature. I was in a hospital, in a nursing home actually, with a blood pressure of 270 by 140. And every hour, on the hour, the fetal heartbeat machine would come to check both the heartbeats, because the doctors wanted to be aware of each and every second for the living purpose of my twins. Precious pregnancy, miracle babies. And guess what happened? When we got home, my mother made a preemie room, and on the 40th day, I took the twins out of my preemie room where only my mother and 2 professional nurses were allowed. Took them out, and we had a little part with the grandsire. I laid them on the floor near the holy book and met just a couple of people. My mother called only very dear, friends, not even friends. They were more friends like family because they were my in-laws and my sister, just very close. But I got a fever of 105. And then guess what happened? The children were in my room. I was made to lie down on the side. My mother's task was to keep slapping my face so that I don't go to sleep, so that I don't get into a coma. And towels after towels of ice cold water were flung onto me. So imagine, burning hot body, ice cold towels. I would scream, I would shriek. And what was the impact on my poor little 40-day twins? They would shriek also. And that's when another point of the great masters of our country, of spiritual, heightened knowledge, truth, Sat, Chit, Anand. I remembered somewhere that I am not the body, I am the soul. And the soul feels nothing. So guess what? I started psyching myself. I am not the body, I am the soul, and the soul feels. I stopped feeling, I stopped screaming, my kids stopped screaming. But guess what happened to my mother? When she found that there was no response, she slapped me harder. Her hot tears fell on my face. She took my name and she said, Bubby, Bubby. Now, I didn't have the energy to tell her anything. So I just opened my mouth and I said, Mama, I am not the body. I am the soul. And the soul feels nothing. And guess what my mother thought? That these were my last words of farewell. And she wept and she said, no, you can't. You can't leave these children. I had no energy. Well, as history decided for me, a doctor came with an injection, the fever subsided, the kids were fine. I was taken, held by 5, 6 people, taken, put into the bathroom on a stool under the shower, and I became fine. So I just want to tell all of you that faith in God, faith in your Guru, faith in your families, faith in your friends, and most of all, faith in yourself can make you overcome all adversity. So now we've talked about spirituality. What are the other things that happen when there is such heightened awareness and you are one with the universe. You are one with the maker. You are one with everyone around. What happens? Extra sensory perception. Now you'll wonder how that made an impact. I was living in London, and this was in the early 80s. I suddenly woke up. My father was in the Indian Navy, and I woke up to this little nightmare of him being in a green room in the hospital, Ashwini. And I could see the room, I could see the waves, hear the waves, and this feeling that he is going in for a surgery. I quickly rang up my sister. They were all in Bombay. And I said, where's Papa? She said, why? I said, I had this horrible nightmare. And she said, oh, you drama queen, you always, think all these things. She said, I'll call him, you speak to him. So he came, he spoke to me. I felt happy. I felt consoled. And I said, okay. And that was it. So for the next 16 days, 15, 16 days, if I asked, where's Papa? Oh, he's gone for a walk. He's taken the dog for a walk. He's in a business meeting. He's gone to work, etc. On the 16th day, my father spoke to me. And this is what he said. He was in the car with his bag packed on his way for a surgery at Ashwini, the hospital that I dreamt of. And that was the time when I woke up and I started talking to my sister. She called him back from the car, called him up, made him speak to me, pacified me. They didn't want to tell me because I was far away from home. They didn't want to worry me. But in the old days, we never had cell phones. In fact, before that, we didn't have phones either. How did we communicate? Telepathy. So I was so grateful. That apart, there was another incident in London. My aunt, with whom I spent 2.5 months in India, in Pune, at the Command Hospital, because she was going through blood cancer. I went back on the 28th of February. On the 6th of March, I woke up, 83. And I went through the entire experience of dying, right up to my organs shutting one by one. It was me. I could see my father, my mother, my uncle, my sister, everyone around, as if I was going. I could see the cylinder of oxygen. It was so real. I woke up. I wrote it down. And when I came to India, I got to know that that was the precise moment that she had passed away. When I came to India, and I showed this paper to my sister and her husband, my brother-in-law, they were astounded. They said, this is exactly how she had gone.
Oh, my
So
God.
where do these things come from? They come only if you are open and receptive, because the universe is there giving you ideas, giving you thoughts, guiding you, holding your hand,